You are listening to Something Rather Than Nothing. Creator and host, Ken Vellante. Editor and producer, Peter Bauer.
Hey everybody, Ken Vellante here with the Something Rather Than Nothing podcast. Have special guest Ophelia Darkly here, and just wanted to tell you right off the bat, Ophelia, welcome onto the show.
Thank you so much. I'm so glad to be here. You can't see it, but I'm in all my spooky glory with the skeletons hanging from the ceiling and neon
Can you describe
lights.
it? Can you describe it before we do anything else?
Okay,
Take your time. Take your time.
Everyone, just close your eyes for a moment and envision there's a red velvet curtain. There are 20 skeletons hanging from the wall. There's a silver one with light up eyes. There's glow in the dark ones, neon green. There's a sword on the wall. There's other skulls. This is where I record on Twitch, my DJing. So there's just there's many things to look at. There's a synthwave backdrop. It's eye candy. Yeah.
Incredible. About that Twitch. Tell us about Twitch. I was trying to find you on there. I missed you, but what do you do on that? Just first question.
Yeah. I mean, have you ever been on Twitch at all or no?
I have. Maybe I could be a little bit of a sucker for very good gaming, women dungeon crawlers.
Yeah.
People playing those type of games, but it's been a little while. I couldn't remember my login, so I'm pretty. I'm out of touch.
Yeah. So I mean, primarily it was created for usually gamers or other artists and creators, and I didn't actually know about it until the pandemic happened, and then I got super into it because people the clubs were closed and no one could actually have that community space with music and dancing. And so it was a huge deal when 2020 happened. People were having parties on Zoom and parties on Twitch and just connecting with people around the world. And it was this very unique thing where we all came together through music and art and creation. And it was so awesome. People would turn on their cameras and get all dressed up. It was a club night. Yeah. And then I've met so many people around the world from Twitch, and I've been able to share my music, and it's been a really amazing experience. And I feel I can experiment with different music styles too that maybe wouldn't go over so well at a club, but they would go over well on Twitch because I can just kind of do whatever I want and make my channel just how I'm desiring it to be, really, and make the community what I would like it to be.
It feels in my head, you can have a close connection can be created thinking about the quality of video and the aesthetic that you put up and that rolling and a good sound system filling it in. It's hey, Ophelia's hanging with me. I get the opportunity now, but I mean it's a kind of intimacy and let's see what she plays tonight. So I'm digging on that.
Yeah, and there's more of a personal connection, I think, because people get to know you and then they can come back and, they know the music that they expect to see. And then there's different redeems people could have you do. I do some crazy ones where I DJ with my elbows, or I've DJ'd blindfolded, or I have a truth or dare, or people could ask me to tell a story or
awesome.
Share weird facts. I have all these different things that people can do, and it's way more interactive, I find, than a club night would be, obviously.
Man, I think I've been missing the party. All right, I'll look at that after.
Yeah, I think a lot of people stopped doing it after the clubs opened up, but there's still a really strong community. It's just a lot of fun. You can do it from your home, you're in your pajamas with your glass of wine and you're time to see what DJs around the world are on tonight.
Well, you sold me. Me. So
it's fun. It's a lot of fun.
Drop back into it. Folks, Ophelia and I met in person. My partner Jenny has met Ophelia. We go dance up at the Coffin Club, place I adore. So it's really cool to make this to make this connection and just around like dancing and DJing. I uh I've gone for quite a few years not really having the goth club that I want or being too busy at other aspects of my life. And one of the things I love the Coffin Club is like I always find so many styles and types of music that I enjoy. I listen to a lot
Mm,
of different type of music,
yeah,
and
same.
the I don't want to romanticize this point, but I think one of the things I like about Portland is that it gives the opportunity for a lot of people and its potential for inclusivity
Yeah,
of genders and sexualities and far more than that. And I don't want to oversell it, but when you see it in experience, which I have at the
yeah.
Coffin Club, and you're dancing, and there's a positivity in the macabre for me,
Hmm.
like with the Coffin Club. I
Yeah.
love dungeons. I love the goth, right? But I also my brain wants to fly towards the colors as well.
Yeah.
So what I want to display is like energetically, it's like been so fun to be able to dance to your music as Jenny and I have tried to like integrate this into our relationship and be like
Hmm.
dancing. Well, let's get out and do what we can and do it in an environment that feels good. So I
Yeah.
want to just like say too much on that. But
Yeah.
what about the Coffin Club? What about your DJ and tell us about your experience with it, or maybe your connection to the venue and the goth scene.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I have a really unique experience because when I was 18, I went to my first goth club in Chicago. That's where I'm from. And usually, like, you have to wait till you're
Chicago.
21 to like go to a club, but like I got to go when I was 18. And the DJ was Scary Lady Sarah. She's in Chicago and she's still really active and doing all these things. And
Awesome.
like my mind was blown. Like I seriously felt like I have never like felt so at home or like part of a community and like understood. And there were so many people from different walks of life with different
Yeah.
styles,
Yeah.
different energies that were all like creative in some way. And they were all like coming together through the music and through the environment. And I thought it was such a beautiful thing. And so, I mean, since then, I've pretty much been hooked. And
Yeah.
I think there's a lot to say about goth clubs in different cities, and I've explored a lot of different places, but in general, like Portland is really unique because like our goth club is also our music scene. And because they have so many shows there now and like it's all
Yeah.
intertwined and we're open now, they're open like 6 days a week. Like that's insane. Like I
Love
didn't
it.
have that in Chicago. It was very
Yeah.
events based, and it was like whenever there was an event or multiple events in a night, you go out to that. But here it's like there's actually way more of a tight knit community because it's like there's a show and a dance night and people are constantly in that environment. And it's so amazing to have that. And I do not like take that for granted at all.
Yeah. No, thanks for talking about it. When you said Chicago, I thought back. First goth club, I maybe late 20s. I was in Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Um, it ended up closing down, but what's cool about it's called the Sanctuary. In all the people I had dragged there, so I studied philosophy at the time. A lot of my friends
Hmm.
were philosophers, and a bunch of them conservative Christian, not like politically conservative, just like kind of
Yeah.
fundamental on that. Boy, did they love those kind of clubs.
Really?
Like
That's interesting.
they were able to, I don't know what it was. It was be like we're with Ken, so maybe we're visiting like his world, like over there,
Yeah.
or something. But they were also open and curious enough to see, like, looking into the dark, and seeing what was there. I'm not saying everybody really, but it ended up being quite a weird entourage. Going back to your point about like the different people who show up there
Yeah.
and why it could be a fascinating meeting point.
Yeah. I mean, I've been a part of like other scenes in the past, and I feel like this scene is very inclusive and accepting, and like it's kind of unique because like when you're dancing, you kind of do your own thing, and everyone does their own thing, and like you can dance how you want, you can look how you want, and like that is part of the subculture is like that acceptance, and it's that makes it really interesting. I think to me that people can just express themselves however they desire, and that's totally okay.
I dig it. Thanks for thanks for chatting about that.
Yeah.
Uh, Big conceptual one.
Hmm.
When was it that you first saw yourself as a creator, as an artist? You make a lot of things, create a lot of things. We'll talk more about that. But when was it, a flash of lightning or?
Yeah. I was thinking about this question a lot, and I was like wondering because I think I've struggled with the idea of like, am I an artist? Am I creator for like part of my life? I'm like, what does that mean to me? And like,
Mhm.
how do I know I'm on that pathway where it's like, I am now the artist? And I think that it happened way earlier than I previously thought. Like, I really feel like I've always was like a creative child, but I do feel like when I was 6 years old and I started getting really into writing books, like my first grade teacher, who I still talk to this day, is
Yeah, that's
amazing.
great.
And she had us all write these books and illustrate them. And I like became obsessed to like the nth degree with like writing and creating. And like there was just this spark of like energy and inspiration that made me feel like, yes, like I am a writer. And I just started like writing from then on out. Like I was writing books at the table. Like when my parents like took us out to dinner, I had these like tomes of like books and I was like writing stories. And then a few
Mm,
years later, I started writing poetry. I feel like I've always been like a creator or a writer in some regard. And like, I think that if that identity is important to you, like if that's empowering to you, then why not say, yes, I am a creator, I'm an artist, that is me. And like, I don't think you have to like create some giant body of work or like be
yeah.
regarded as like some like successful person to be an artist or creator. Like you just are. And I mean, perhaps you could expand that idea and just be like, all humans in some capacity are creators, are artists. I know not everyone would agree with that, but I think it just depends on personal preference. And for me, it
Yeah.
happened at a really young age and it was so influential. And I think that it shaped who I was as a person.
Yeah, I've been fascinated by the answer to this question. I applied it so late in my own thinking. Um,
Yeah.
I'm 52, uh, 44 years old, maybe. Like,
Mm.
seeing myself. I guess in my head at that time, I was painting and then ended up creating this show. I do a lot of creative things, but
Yeah.
I was able to see that there was an artist's mind, there was an artist space, there's an artist breathing space where I could be different, and that's where it
Mm.
flipped for me, but that was not too long ago.
Yeah.
So I'm always really interested because some people are being like, "If I don't paint, I shall die," like,
Mm. Yeah.
like, and it's like, wow. So a lot of writing, music obviously draws you a whole bunch.
Yeah.
Visual arts. Tell is some of my guests, including you, when we start to exchange and think about ideas, I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
man, there's so many creative outlets that you seem to have, both
Hmm.
within music and writing. Um, Talk to us about about your creativity and the ways of which you see yourself doing art.
Yeah. I think it is definitely changed in a lot of ways throughout my life, but the core has always been the same, I think, in the sense that I want to kind of evoke the creative muse, but also do some sort of storytelling. Like that could be literally like through writing, or it could be through performance. I went to school for acting and writing. I've done performance art. I have done modeling, which to me is a very creative form and a form of storytelling for me personally. And I
For
think
sure.
that is kind of the core of it, is storytelling and intention. And I really think that's important for my creative process. It's looked at a lot of different ways, as I said. I think most of all I value creative collaboration, even though some of the things I do are more solo. Like when I connect with someone creatively, whether that's through a photo shoot or performance art or writing, that to me is like the ultimate. Like if I can have like a one-on-one creative collaboration with
Yeah,
someone,
yeah, that's
and we
cool.
can exchange ideas but still have this kind of similar vision, like that is really beautiful to me. And something that I really value is like the experience and being in the moment and being able to like create these things with another person that is from a completely different walk of life, even if you have like some
Yeah.
similarities. Like there's something really special about that, I think.
Yeah, yeah, your thoughts really sparked in my mind. It's like the sense I think about it a lot is like organizing and connect with people and truly collaborating like with
Yeah.
and I get to do that a lot in my life. But some people can miss how powerful an experience is. Like they feel themselves, or they don't know that there are other folks out there. And heck, even doing this podcast, almost
Yeah.
300 episodes, like
That's so many.
sure, I was dancing to your music, but like I still have to get on the microphone and we have to learn about each other and talk about some cool shit too.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
um uh what is art? What do you think art is?
Yeah, that's such a great question. Such a broad question. I remember in college, like us talking about this, and everyone had a different response.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
everyone was like, it's this, it's that, it's this. And like, do we have a core that it could be about? Or like what can we really say about like what is art? And everyone's gonna have a different opinion, and people are gonna gatekeep the term, as we know, and people are gonna like be really upset, and they're gonna probably like turn this off in the moment I speak, but it's fine. That's kind of the beauty of it, I think, is that there is no definition, and it's whatever you make it and whatever you want it to be. For me, I would say like it's creative expression in all forms, like of the soul, the heart, the mind, the body. And it's when the dream comes to meet the real, and it's like a vessel of inspiration. That's what it's like for me personally. And it can look like a
Yeah, it's
lot of different
beautiful.
things.
No, it's beautiful.
Have you shared your definition of what it
Oh
is? Or
gosh, yeah.
I'm putting
Dang.
you on the spot, like, and what
No,
is
it's all
your
right.
definition of art?
I'm from the East Coast. You can't get me to stop talking
Yeah.
sometimes.
Well, it's good you have a podcast then.
It's good to have a podcast. It's
Yeah.
good to have a podcast. Um, you know, in my head, and I'm just going to answer this very generally,
Yeah.
not to be evasive, but the answers for me have been in the area of transcendence and awe. That like the experience, the sound, the goosebumps on that Cure track, that painting that captures something where I'm like, holy fuck, that's real. Like there's a transcendence, moving beyond. So I've always thought, like in the show, it points to something bigger: God, the common human
Mm.
spirit, the great Father, the great Mother, the great Nothing,
Yeah.
whatever. But for me, it's that I can't prove it, but there's something much bigger than we can
Mhm.
all imagine, whatever that is.
Yeah.
That's the feel. That's the feel of art for me.
Yeah. I would agree. Like it is tapping into something beyond us, but that is connected to us maybe. Like
Yeah, somehow.
that is what I feel like it is.
Somehow.
And it can be something small. It doesn't have to be this big grand gesture, but it can be big too. It's more of a feeling, I think, than anything.
Oh, shit, we
I
figured it
never
out,
thought.
Ophelia. Hey, everybody,
Yeah,
we
no,
crossed that
now
one
we
off the
know.
list. She's
Might as well
haven't crossed
might
one
as well
off the
write
list yet.
Merriam-Webster's dictionary and be like, yeah, we got it down.
All right.
So
That's a big one, though. Finally crossed that one off.
yeah.
You mentioned modeling, and you
Uh-huh.
also mentioned a very significant experience when you were younger, where you were
Yeah.
attacked by a dog. And can you talk about like what happened and what your journey was in connection? You mentioned it in connection to modeling and how you are, but can you talk about that?
Yeah. So when I was 6 years old, I was at a friend's house that was moving away, and I convinced my mom that I wanted to spend the night one last time. They were having this big party, and they had a dog that I knew because I was friends with them and they lived really close by. And I think the dog was just overstimulated from the party and all of the noises and the people, and it was really loud.
Yeah.
And I remember looking into its eyes. It had these like bright blue eyes. It was a Alaskan Malamute, like one of those like Alaskan dogs. I looked it in the eyes and it just like jumped up and bit off part of my lip.
Oh my gosh.
And like in the moment, like I was in shock and like holding my face, and like I had to like run to my friend, and then I ended up like having to go to the ER, and I got stitches. And then after that, a little bit later, I had surgery. So once that happened, it was a really pivotal moment of my life. And I feel, honestly, as traumatizing as it was, I feel really grateful for that experience. Because before that, like, I was kind of a weird kid, but I was like pretty accepted and like kind of popular, as it were, in school. And after that experience, is like I felt very different from other children. Like they couldn't quite understand me, and I felt like the outsider. And after that, like people didn't want to be friends with me. They didn't want to talk to me. I was like very othered. And in a way, I kind of became like a leader of the outcasts. And like people, I feel like kind of like looked up to me for guidance because I would like stand up for other people that were being bullied, even though I was being bullied myself. Like I was kind of like the person that would say something and stand up for other people. And
Heck yeah.
after that experience, like it made me really feel like I had to fight for what I wanted, or like to be a very visual creator. Cause I always knew when I was young that I wanted to create. I was like, I want to be a singer, a dancer, an actor, a model, like all these things. And then I had people telling me, no, you can't do that. No, you're not going to be able to do that, because I had like a scar on my face, and they're like, well, you don't look like everyone else. You know, have this like deformity, as it were, and you can't do this. And so it made me have to fight harder to be like, yes, I can, and I want to do this. Like I remember when I was 7 and I had just gotten the surgery, and I was supposed to be on stage performing and like acting in the school play. And people were like, I don't think you should do it. You have stitches coming out of your face. This is probably not a good idea. And I was like, no, like I'm going to go on that stage. And I have this photograph of me on the stage, and like I have this like safari hat, and I have like all of these like giant stitches coming out of my lip, and it's like there's kind of like dried blood, and it's a little bit grotesque, but I was like, I'm going on that stage, and I am going to do this. And I feel like that really pushed me forward like throughout my life to be like, this is what I'm going to do, and I don't care what other people say. And so when I was 20 years old, this photographer discovered me on MySpace, of all places. I'm dating myself.
MySpace was badass. MySpace was badass. I
right?
love MySpace.
I know you could like have like your songs
music,
and customize
your own
page.
walk up music, your box of friends and ranking.
Yeah, what was this Facebook, Instagram? Like, what's going on with that?
Anyways.
We don't get any of that. But yeah, this photographer slash visual artist discovered me, and I was like kind of sketched out at the time. So I brought my friend with, and he
Yeah.
ended up being super cool. I still talk to him, and he was like, "You should do modeling." And we did a photo shoot, and it kind of all stemmed from there. And he created these portraits based on my friend and I. And I got really interested in the modeling world and what that meant to like to have that visual storytelling component. I was always interested in fashion, and it just made sense to me. And it was very much like an artistic dance for me to be in that space, and like creating the stories was really exciting. And it was pretty challenging because I started getting some attention from some agencies, like bigger named agencies, and
Yeah.
they were like really interested in my look. And then I would go to these casting calls in person, and they would like see my scar, and they would like just like stare at me. And then they would be like, "Yeah, we're not interested anymore." And they wouldn't say why necessarily,
Yeah.
but they just were like not into it anymore. And it was hard to have that level of rejection and then be like, "Well, I'm still going to create. I don't care." And then they would be like, "Well, you just need to change your hair." So I'd like change my hair. "Oh, you just remember, don't get any tattoos or piercings. Maybe you just need to lose some weight. Maybe you just need to look like this." And I kept trying to do that and like mold myself into what I thought they might
Yikes. Yeah.
desire. And it's like it was never good enough. It was never good enough. And then after that, I was like, "Well, never mind. I'm going to get the tattoos I want. I'm going to get the piercings I want. I'm going to have the hair I want, and I'm going to create how I want without someone dictating that. And I don't need them." So it's been an interesting journey of like being a model, and still sometimes photographers will like Photoshop out my scar or whatever. It is like trying to like view yourself as this very like physical being in art, where you have something that's different from other people, and seeing that as more of like an asset or something beautiful than something that takes away
Yeah.
from the art
Yeah.
or the
Yeah.
clothing or whatever it is.
Well, there's profound questions within that, but you feel it like even yourself as right in modeling, art, object, you're potentially, and being viewed and not having ultimate creative control too, right?
Yeah.
About that. Yeah, well, uh uh what about with the modeling, and did you move through that experience ultimately being um like having fought through something, like in the sense like of like the industry or things like that, or is your relationship more balanced where maybe when you present yourself or you're modeling that there's more of you taken into it, or has that
Hmm.
changed?
And I think I've been through a journey with it. There are some points where
Yeah.
I'm like, "Fuck you, fuck this industry." It
Yeah,
is
yeah, yeah,
not, it says it's being more inclusive, and it is versus what it was, but like it's not.
yeah.
And dictating how people's bodies are, how they should be, is not a healthy thing. And people shouldn't be discriminated against for having like a scar or some sort of deformity or whatever. There's that piece. There's the piece that a lot of people don't view models as artists. If you look into like grant programs for like modeling, it's like photographers can get grants, maybe makeup artists, clothing designers, but the models, like there's no artistic grants for models. They're not
Just an
always valued. It's like they're a
erasure of
clothes
that whole
hanger.
side, right? Like erasure of
Yeah.
that whole side. Yeah.
Yeah, and it made me really, like, passionate about that, to be like, "Why is that?" Like, you have a timestamp, like, when you're 30, you're in the grave to the modeling industry, and it's like, you are just the clothing hanger, you are just, like, the vessel, and for the, photographer's creative vision. And I just don't believe in that at all. I think all of the people involved in a photo shoot, whatever that is, are valid artists, and they should be revered in that way.
Mhm.
So that's been like a difficult thing, I think. And also feeling like, what could I have done differently to kind of be maybe seen in in that industry more, and like now that can't be like a career of mine, but I don't even know if I would have wanted that. Because the idea of like people just dictating how much you can weigh and like what you can wear and what you can look like has to be not great for people's mental health at all. And I enjoy that I can get an idea and inspiration and like create with people in the way that I would like to create. That feels more empowering to me than having like a really big gig where I'm like on the cover of Vogue or something. Like I've been on magazine covers. I've been able to collaborate with some bigger names, and it's been on more of my terms, which feels better.
Yeah. I wanted to thank you. Thank you for that. Sometimes the podcast drops into modeling and fashion and really trying to like interrogate it away from the superficial. Like there's problems, right? There's problems everywhere. Problems with the fashion
Yeah, in
industry,
every industry.
Right. So, but like, let's take things seriously or like use serious questions to engage with it rather than be high art, low art. So I'd like to try to bring that in. I've had a lot of photographers, and I think in my head heavily influenced by particular photographers at time, and like really kind of warped or reset how I saw the world. Like Diane Arbus, for one, for me would be like right off the top of my head. But yes. Another conceptual question. We talked about our art. We did really well talking about our definitions.
We did well. We did, congrats to us.
Very well. Very well. What's the role of art? And I asked this question, and I won't go on too long, but nowadays I tend to ask it, and it's like, does the role of art change? Global warming, damn, it's hot right now, all this other shit going on in the world. Like, I keep asking, has the role of art changed, or is, art just still arting?
I think this is another question that a lot of people would have many different answers to, and that is another beautiful thing about it. But I wrote down a lot of things because I could see the role of art being many things to many different people. And I think to me, it's not just one thing, but I wrote down to speak where some methods fall short, a sort of language, to inspire, to let us know that we are creators or humans, to provide a medium for expression and exploration, to channel the creative muse, to answer and ask questions, to connect in a unique way with the world, to invoke feelings and provoke thoughts.
I love it. Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's just so many things that art can do. And art can do things that other things cannot. It can transcend language at times, especially visual art and music.
Big art ideas. There could be enormous, right? Like absolutely enormous. Gosh, there's so many different things to talk about. I got different notes here. Jenny left me a couple of notes too. She said she wanted me to remind you how she talked to me, and she came back after we said hi. We had said hi at the club, and Jenny came back and just like, she was just so damn pretty. I was struggling. She felt a little.
Oh, so talking
to. So she had me write down, and I had already written down Doll Tarot. Talk to me. Talk to us.
Yes, about what it is.
Yeah, tell us.
So when I first moved here, I met my best friend, and her and I were really interested in magic and tarot, and then also dolls. But at first we were like, wanting to give people tarot readings, but we noticed that when people like actually knew about tarot or knew about some of the symbology or the concepts, and they would see certain cards come up during the reading, they would like no longer be listening or be that interested because they would just be like interpreting it themselves. And there was just like this lack of active listening with the messages that were coming through. And we were like, we both like creepy, weird dolls and vintage things, and we like tarot.
Yes.
Could we combine these into a concept where like the dolls would represent areas of the tarot or like symbology, but they would stand alone in this sort of like interesting, unique form of divination? So we got this gigantic Victorian looking dollhouse. We painted it black, and we found these vintage dolls that are from like the 50s, 60s, and 70s. They're
Oh,
from
you're
this Dolls
killing
of the
me.
World series. So they're
Oh,
supposed to be from like different countries, and you used to be able to
yeah.
go to like Arco gas station and buy one for like $1.
Yeah.
And they are these plastic dolls with different outfits, and they have these like creepy blinking eyes. Like sometimes they're asleep or they're like gazing at you. And the dolls we found in all different places, and some of them like have lost arms and legs, and they've seen some shit. Honestly, they've been through it.
Yeah.
And we set them all up in this house, and then we used to read as conjoined twins. We got a custom dress made, and we would walk around in this dress, and we each would only have one hand available, and when the other one was talking, the other one would be writing. And so we kind of like were known as this kind of like circusy sideshow act. But then she moved away to these tropical islands, and yeah, we had to
Separated from you.
physically separate. We had to get out the saw and like,
Oh,
the
man.
chainsaw, and it was like a really
Yikes.
painful operation. And then I was like, well, I guess I could abandon this idea or take up the torch myself, and I decided to continue to do it. So that's kind of like the interesting origin story of it. But the basis of it is that someone will sit down at my table and they'll ask a question, whatever they want to know. I've gotten so many variety of questions. Maybe it's about a certain theme or a topic, or maybe just they want to know like what their next year will look like. And then they get to pick the doll that they think has the answer, and then we do the reading based on that. So the dolls represent part of the tarot, but they also have their own unique energy and spirit to them also.
Yeah.
So if someone asked the same question and picked the same doll, the reading would never be the same.
Yeah. It's like embodiments. Wow.
Yeah. But
There's so
some
much
people are
that brings up.
terrified of the
Oh,
dolls. I did an event
um,
yesterday, and someone was like about to scream, and
no.
they just kept looking over, and they were so scared.
Do you
But
get
I've had that
that
happen,
level of
and then
freaked
people
out?
kiss it. Me?
Yeah. Do you get
About the
that level of
dolls?
freaked out with any of the dolls?
No. Though I've seen some like pretty weird looking dolls that kind of unnerve me, but I think by now I'm desensitized to them pretty much.
I think they got Annabelle, not historically accurate,
Mhm.
right? But creeping my ass out right
Yeah.
in the movies, The Conjuring. For me.
The Annabelle
For
doll.
for
Yeah, I'm not a
for
fan of
me.
the Raggedy Ann dolls. I had a nightmare when I was a child, and
Those are
after that I'm like, yeah, no more. So I guess I am. Don't give me any Raggedy Andy. No thanks.
Oh yeah, they had I knew so much about this is a curious aside and it's very
Yeah.
brief. I knew so much about the Warrens
Yeah.
long time ago because my first girlfriend in college lived down the road from them.
Oh, really?
So she would tell, I was a freaky kid, right? Like, tell me anything like wild
Yeah.
and strange, right?
Yeah,
She
yeah.
was like that too, or becoming more like that. But she grew up down the street, and I just heard so much about it. So then when it became more stories about it and popular and things
Yeah.
like that, I was like, it was just weird, developed idea in my head. So I had imagined pre-internet I'm talking about too, just about. So I can't remember what I thought the Annabelle doll would look like.
Yeah.
But anyways, that aside, back to the dolls. And so yesterday, person was extremely freaked out by that. What do people what do you think people are weirding out on when that happens to them?
Well, I mean, I think it's just like clowns or whatever. Like some people
Yeah,
just have a
clowns.
fear of dolls. But I think if I were to really break it down, it's the fact that it's like an uncanny valley situation where people are like, it's a little person that's not real, but that maybe has a spirit, and I don't like that. Or like it's making me uncomfortable. And I think that is what it is, honestly.
Yeah, I think you captured it. Oh, wow. I want to ask the big question too.
Yeah.
About the show, and get to ask it. Ophelia Darkly, why is there something rather than nothing?
Yeah, why is there? I think that I have to believe that there are some things in my life in order to survive and just thrive in general. Like I think about like my own mortality a lot, not in a morbid way, but more in the way where I try to deeply appreciate the present moments we have now, and that every moment can be what you make it. And it's interesting because the past has brought us here. The future, I think, is very much in our hands. And so the fact that we can create something from literally nothing, from an idea in our head or whatever it might be, is a really beautiful thing. And I think there has to be something in this world keeping us going. There has to be a reason we are here. There has to be a reason we create, and there has to be some things. If there isn't that purpose, then why are we here together in this world?
Thank you.
Yeah. That's the name of the podcast. So it must be really meaningful to you.
As folks, I told the question. I tell this once in a while. I only gave one guest the opportunity to not answer it, and it was
really
Lori Fatrick, who was Ice on American Gladiators.
Oh,
in the and with my respect, I said, you can answer it, or you can say, fuck off with your question, Ken. She answered it and then said, and fuck off with your question. We had fun.
Oh my God.
We had fun. Only one guest, only Ice got the
only one.
And that's no shade on you or anything. Like, it's just American Gladiator power, defer. All right, so I've seen you to the Coffin Club. You mentioned you're on Twitch. Can you talk about your different areas of creativity and where to find you, or how you like people to find you, particularly DJing or other aspects of what you do?
Yeah, so I have a Linktree site that's just Linktree/Ophelia Darkly online. It has links to my social media and the things I do on Twitch and anything like that. So I sometimes post online, but I think if you can see me in person, it's more interesting because I'm all about creating themed, intentional spaces. And even when I set up for my doll tarot, I do a lot of various events. So there's not really many set events I do besides Burlenomicon, which is a dark burlesque show at Coffin Club. But I try to create environments, and that is really important to me. One of my best friends and I, Jen, she is a really amazing creator too. And we had this performance art series called Ghostland that we've been thinking about maybe reviving, but it was this performance art series that was based on themes. And we would just create these really unique environments where people could interact. And then we would have creators and artists on stage, and they would have full sound and music and lighting and everything that they could want to like showcase their art. And that was like a really important thing I did. And we decided to create a magic class recently. It's called Conjuring the Dreamweaver. And it was where people could really think about the dreams that they have in their life, like waking dreams, dreams that they have for their life, and
Yeah.
interact with them in a really unique way. So we had this visualization component where we kind of led them through meeting their personal kind of dream weaver that would tell them about dreams. And then we did an activity where people could do corpse poems together. And if you don't know what that is, it's like a creative collaborative process where you write 2 to 3 lines down. It could be like kind of like a poem or whatever you're feeling, and then you fold open over the paper where you only see the final line. And so and you pass it to your partner and they only see that line, and then by the end you have this kind of poem created, and it's a really like
Wow.
fun
Yeah.
collaborative like thing that I learned when I was in college, and I had a lot of fun doing that with people. And then at the end we gave them a kind of creative wish ritual that they could do to interact further with it, just as a basis for the class. But things like that are really meaningful to me. And then I also DJ at coffin clubs, sometimes at Star Theater or the
Yes.
Midnight. And I've done a few different nights. There's a cyberpunk night called
No way.
Siberia. Yeah, where people get super dressed up, like to the
Fuck
nines in their
yeah.
cyber goth outfits. They got the
Mhm.
goggles on and the neon lights, and then
Dig it.
play just like cyberpunk and cyber goth music all night. It's a lot of fun. It's like every 3 months at Coffin Club. And then I do Genesis, which is all new dark dance music from the last 10 years. So, I mean, I love 80s music, but sometimes it gets overplayed, and it's nice to see up and coming new
Yes.
artists. I
Thank
like
you
to
for being
feature like
there and DJing and laying
yeah.
that out. Jenny and I talked about this. Like, it's like,
Oh yeah.
I love that shit. But I geeked out on Depeche Mode like crazy
Yeah.
20-something years ago. And I love it dancing. I do. But I gotta hear all this other stuff. I get too bored in my head. So
Yeah, and
thank
it's
you.
like we've
Thanks,
heard all of
Ophelia.
that. No, it's like I think it's really important. But like I get it. Like I like the classic 80s music too, but there are so many amazing musicians now that aren't played on the dance floor much, or like local musicians too. We have such a great music scene here, and I just love being able to showcase that music and show other kinds of artists where people can dance. And a lot of people, they don't know the music, but they dance anyway. They love the beat of it. It doesn't matter. They don't have to know the words to like appreciate it or to move their body to the sound. And I think that is a really awesome thing. So I'm doing that too.
Thank you for doing all that, man. I'm just, like I said, you had the connection at the beginning talking about Jenny and us getting out dancing, and like,
yeah,
it's like, what do I compare it to? Like, physically, it's like you don't have to answer. It's like in the doing. There's energies that are going out, and I'm in my analytical mind. I'm always thinking about like I need to write this out to address it properly, or like formalistic. Whereas, whether it's sport, dance, and other expressions, where it's like you can get that shit out.
Yeah. And it's
Get
like a
it out.
healthy outlet to do that.
Yeah.
It was like,
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Important. Yeah.
my best friend and I recently went to a rage room. Have you ever been to one of those?
I work for the union. I think I have, but I don't think we're talking about the same thing. Tell me.
Oh my, like I was just thinking about like healthy creative outlets to like get out whatever's going on. And like dancing is a big part of it for me. But like the rage room, like I feel like you got to try it, because it's like you go in a room and they give you shit to break. They give you like things to break it with. and then you just go to town. You can blast your music, and like
Oh,
we put
God.
up like a bunch of pictures of like the horrible billionaires on
Okay.
the wall,
Yeah.
and you can like you like throw plates and like glasses and whatever they give you, and then they give you a big item to smash, and you have like baseball bats and wrenches and crowbars and all sorts of things to hit it with. We got this computer monitor and like a record player, and just like being able to like get all of that out, I feel like is a good outlet. And it felt kind of creative. I think I got to like curate my playlist, pick my weapon, and then just like, get it out, stomp it out. There's glasses flying through, and you get all the like PPE, so you're protected. You get the face shield and the suit, but it was a lot of fun, I must say.
You've had me giggling the whole time up here.
They also have an option where you could smash a car. By the way.
Come on. Yeah. Well, here's one thing. What I wanted to, I've had this same exact experience, but it was a VR experience.
Oh, okay, yeah. A little bit.
My kiddo had the VR game, and of course, I keep mentioning dungeons. I grew up on dungeon crawlers, but it's a dungeon crawler, and you are in the fucking pit. And so I'm wailing around. So I understand. I've got an introduction to the taste of the Rage Room VR style. I forget what that game was, but man, like get it out.
Yeah, VR has so much cool potential for its like therapy and healing, and like there's that one game where it's like about fear, and like it's like if you have a fear of heights, like fear of ghosts, like whatever it is, and you can actually explore that virtually. I think that's so rad.
I find that fascinating myself. I liked it, and I was using for a bit. I found, this is the funny bit, not funny, but just like a weird trigger warning. I was worried about not leaving the VR. I felt like a power and a draw as it, and this was just a basic setup that they have, but I imagine where it goes. Boy, it's like step into the novel that you used to read yourself towards. Now you're embodying it, sort of. I thought it had an incredible power, and not like negative, but I was just like, whoa, I think I could get sucked in. Let me take a look at this from the plate glass window.
Yeah, well, I think that is important to have that perspective, because like there are people, I think, that are kind of addicted to that world, or like being in there, and like how can you have balance while still wanting to experience that? What is real? What is reality?
Right. That's as real as anything else. And we say from the outside, oh, that's not real. And be like, it's fucking real, 100% real.
Isn't it insane that your body has a response? Like when you like are at the edge of like in VR, like the edge of this skyscraper, and you like feel like you're there, like your body is like, no, we're about to like fall off.
Yeah.
It's like hard to like know the difference between.
All right. We'll be cautious. We're fascinated. We'll be cautious with our
Let's not jump off the skyscraper today.
VR. My goodness. I wanted to say it's been such a great treat to chat with you, Ophelia. I know we've been trying to plan this for a bit, and I part of it is like I've been really super fascinated by the discrete and disparate creativity in what you do, and the DJing, and kind of like sharing that Jenny and I have tried to connect and share, and being like, that's we're getting into this vibe, and sharing the potential for the acceptance at a place like the Coffin Club in Portland, and where you can get your groove on without fucking worrying about like maybe a million things, or where I am, or what the social setting is, or how I'm moving, and all that stuff. I like that vibe. It feels that way. So
same.
Thank you for all your art stuff. I guess that's the technical thing I'm trying to
Thank you. Yeah, I feel like I need to create to survive, honestly, and, like, I've realized that more and more as time has gone on, and because I've sometimes deprioritized my creativity 'cause of other things, and since I've, like, got laid off my job a few months ago and I've been able to just dedicate myself absolutely to creativity, it's been pretty eye-opening to be like, "Holy shit, like, this is amazing, even if it's temporary, like, I need this in my life to, like, be happy and feel fulfilled as a human being, and without it, like, I feel like a shell of a person."
It's it's nice to be able to catch you, potentially, like for real at this time, where you are with that and your reflections on it.
This is Something Rather Than Nothing.
And listeners, to stay connected with us and our guests, visit somethingratherthannothing.com. Join our mailing list for exclusive updates and access to guest-created art. If you enjoyed this episode or any episode, please like, subscribe, leave a review on your podcast platform. People really read that shit. Your support helps us reach more listeners and spread our community across the planet. This is a global show, and we like to give a shout out to our many listeners across the world, including many listeners in Canada, Spain, Germany, UK, Argentina, Brazil, India, Thailand, and so many more places. Be sure to follow us on Instagram at Something Rather Than Nothing Podcast for behind the scenes content. And the best way to help the show is to tell your friends about us. If you love it, they'll love it too. Tell your friends who love it. We love you. This is Something Rather Than Nothing Podcast.